Greetings! Mansory79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days! Alright, let's get started. Pressing the A button now.
Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days.
Loading game and proceeding. Here we are on the main menu, going to edit deck menu. And now in today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is a Keter Sanctuaries, Phantom Blaster Dragon, D-BT04. Okay, so first off, I'm going to be using this Keter Sanctuaries, Phantom Blaster Dragon, D-BT03 deck for the base of the deck I'm going to build. Okay, let's head in, going to edit deck. Here we are, and like I just mentioned before, the deck I'm building today's deck profile video is a Keter Sanctuaries, Phantom Blaster Dragon deck, made up of cards only available up until D-BT04, so alright, let's begin. Let's go to the filter settings, pack, show only cards available in D-BT01, Genesis of the 5 Greats, D-BT02, A Brush of the Legends, D-BT03, Advance of the Intertwined Stars, D-BT04, Awakening of Chakrabarti, Festival Collection 2021, and Promo Card Pack. Apply filter, here we are. Now let's get started. So first up, the Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3s this deck, we're playing right deck, Grade 3, Phantom Blaster Dragon. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, choose a card with Blaster in its card name from your soul, and you may call it to Vanguard circle. Second skill, action, as a Vanguard, once per turn, counterblast 1 and retire 3 rear guards. If the cost them hate, choose up to 2 of your opponent's rear guards, retire them, and this unit gets plus 10,000 power and plus 1 critical until end of turn. So for Phantom Blaster Dragon, it's the main Grade 3 to ride in this deck. Its skills, the first skill, simply by riding Phantom Blaster Dragon onto the Vanguard circle, you can take any card with Blaster from your soul and superior call to the rear guard. So with this first skill, it's a good way to secure yourself a decent attacker, booster, or a fodder to pay for Phantom Blaster Dragon's second skill. And the second skill, simply by paying a counterblast of 1 and retiring 3 of your own rear guards, not only can you wipe out 2 of your opponent's rear guards, but also give your Vanguard Phantom Blaster Dragon plus 10,000 power and plus 1 critical. So for the second skill, it's a good way to not only clear out your opponent's field of rear guards, but to also empower your Vanguard with increased power and critical, making it easier to pressure and finish off your opponent. So for Phantom Blaster Dragon, we got 4 in the deck, 1 in the right deck, keeping it that way. Next up, the Grade 3 Knight of War Damage, Fasado. Not going to play this card anymore, taking 3 out. Next up, the Grade 2 right deck, Blaster Dart. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is placed in the Vanguard circle or rear guard circle, cost, counterblast 1 and retire another rear guard. If the cost them hate, choose 1 of your opponent's rear guards and retire it, and this unit gets drive plus 1 until end of turn. Second skill, continuous as a rear guard. During your turn, if your rear guard was retired during this turn, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. Silver Blaster Dart, he's the main Grade 2 to ride his deck. His first skill, simply by riding or calling Blaster Dart, by paying a cost of counterblast 1 and retiring 1 of your own rear guards, you get to retire 1 of your opponent's rear guards. And if it was a Vanguard Blaster Dart who paid for the skill, your Vanguard gets drive plus 1. So for this first skill, it's not only a good way to clear your opponent's rear guards, but also give your Vanguard Blaster Dart twin drive, thus drive checking 2 cards for the increased chance of getting triggers or to simply stock out your hand with more cards. And the second skill, during your turn, if you retire the opponent's rear guard, your own rear guard, you'll be able to give your Blaster Dart plus 5,000 power. So this second skill, as long as you meet the conditions, your Blaster Dart can become a 15,000 point attacker for the front row. So for Blaster Dart, we got 4 in the deck, 1 in the right deck, keeping it that way. Next up, the Grade 2 Darkness Maiden, Maka. Her skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rear guard circle, if you have a Vanguard Blaster in its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. Then, Soul Blast 1 and retire another rear guard. If the cost them hate, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 Grade 1 or less unit from among them, and call in the rear guard circle, and shuffle your deck. Silver Maka, she's a support card for your Phantom Blaster Dragon deck. Her skill, just by simply being called to the rear guard, as long as you've got a Blaster Vanguard, she gets plus 5,000 power. And also, if you're willing to pay the Soul Blast 1 and retiring another of your rear guards, you have the chance to superior call a Grade 1 or less unit from the top 5 cards of your deck to the rear guard. So for Maka, her skill not only makes her a potential 15,000 point attacker from the front row, but a good way to also search for a specific great one you wish to call to your rear guard. So for Darkness Maiden Maka, we've got 3 in the deck, adding 1, we're playing 4 in the deck. Next up, the Great 2, Knight of Severe Punishment, Gade. We're not going to play this card anymore, taking it out and replacing it with, let's see, we're going to put in, let's see what would be good here. The Great 2, Unnatural Knight Dalbeth. Skill, continuous as a rear guard. During your turn, if 2 or more of your rear guards retire at the cost of your card with Blaster in this card name this turn, this unit gets plus 10,000 power. So for Dalbeth, he's another support card for your Phantom Blaster Dragon decks. His skill, as long as 2 or more rear guards are retired for the cost of your Blaster skills on the same turn, then you can give 10,000 power to Dalbeth. So for Dalbeth, as long as you meet his conditions, he can serve as a 20,000 point attacker from the front row. So for Unnatural Knight Dalbeth, we're going to be playing 4 in the deck, okay? Next up, the Great 1 lineup. For the Great Ones in this deck, we're playing Ride Deck, Great 1, Blaster Javelin. Skills, for skill, auto. When this unit is ridden upon by Blaster Dart, reveal the top card of your deck, call to rear guard as rest if it is a unit card, and discard if it isn't. Second skill, continuous as a rear guard. During your turn, if you have a Vanguard with Blaster in its card name, this unit gets plus 2,000 power. So for Blaster Javelin, he's the main Great One to run this deck. His first skill, when you write Blaster Dark on top of him, you have the chance to superior call the top card of your deck as rest if it's a unit card, and discard it if it's not. So for this first skill, it's a good way to stock up your field of rear guards to pay for your other skills like Blaster Dart or Phantom Blaster Dragon. And the second skill, as long as you've got a Blaster Vanguard, Blaster Javelin can serve as a 10,000 point attacker or a 10,000 point booster from the back row. So for Blaster Javelin, we got 3 in the deck, taking 2 out, playing 1 the right deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the Great 1, Aegis Mare Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard. Skills are, first skill, continuous, Sentinel. Second skill, auto. When this unit is put on the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units. It cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand is 2 or more cards, choose a card from your hand and discard it. So for Aegis Mare Dragon, it's a perfect guard for the Keter Sanctuary Nation. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, he features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with, and by discarding a card from your hand, you can completely block one enemy attack. And he also features an ability unique to all D standard format perfect guards. When used to guard with while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Aegis Mare Dragon a no-cost perfect guard in desperate last resort situations. So for Aegis Mare Dragon, we're playing 4, keeping 4. Okay, next up, the Great 1, Witch of Pandering Bruner. Skill, continuous as a rear guard. If you have a Vanguard Blaster in its card name, when this unit will be retired by your card's cost, it may be regarded as retiring 2 rear guards. So for Bruner, another support card for your Phantom Blaster Dragon deck. Just by being on the rear guard, she can be treated as 2 sacrifices instead of 1, so she's a good way to reduce the number of costs you have to pay for Phantom Blaster Dragon skill by being treated as 2 rear guards, thus reducing number of rear guards to retire, saving up yourself for more attackers and boosters from the back row, while still being able to play Phantom Blaster Dragon skill to add power and critical. So for Bruno, we got 4 in the deck, leaving it that way. Next up, we're putting in the Great 1, Knight of Desolation, Fionnuala. Skill, continuous as a rear guard. If there are no other units in the same column as this unit gets plus 10,000 power, includes your opponent's rear guards. So for Fionnuala, it's a pretty decent card to play in your Keter Sanctuary Nation decks, especially for your Phantom Blaster Dragon decks. As long as there are no rear guards in the same column as Fionnuala in both your and your opponent's field, Fionnuala can serve as a 18,000 point attacker or 18,000 point booster from the back row. So for Fionnuala, we're going to be playing 4 in the deck, okay? And next up, the Great 1, Black Sage Karen. We're not going to play this card anymore, taking it out and replacing it with, let's see, the Great 1, Armor Piercing Knight. You gain skill, auto. When this unit is placed in the rear guard circle from hand, if you have a Vanguard with Blaster in its card name, cost, discard a card from your hand. If the cost is paid, look at 2 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 2 unit cards from among them, and call the rear guard as rest, and discard the rest. So from again, she's another support card for your Phantom Blaster Dragon decks. Her skill, just by being called from your hand to the rear guard, as long as you've got a Blaster Vanguard, by paying the cost of discarding 1, you have the chance to fill out your field with 2 rear guards in the rest position. So for this card, it's a good way to get yourself the necessary sacrifices to pay for either your Blaster Dart or Phantom Blaster Dragon skills. So for armor piercing that you gain, we're going to be playing 4 per, okay? Next up, the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0s to this deck, we're playing Ride Deck, Grade 0, Full Bow, Skill, Auto. When this unit is ridden upon, if you went second, draw a card. So for Full Bow, he's the starting unit of this deck just by riding on top of him. If you went second in the game, you get to draw a card. For Full Bow, we got 1 to Ride Deck, leaving it that way. And now for the trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we're playing 4, Grade 0, Blade Feather Dragon, critical trigger, skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost has been paid, choose one of your units. It gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Blade Feather Dragon, it's a pretty powerful critical trigger to play in your Keter Sanctuary Nation decks. Its skill just by boosting an attack, regardless if it hits or not, at the end of battle. As long as you don't mind giving up Blade Feather from your rear guard to your soul, you'll be able to give one of your other units, Vanguard or rear guard, plus 2,000 power. So for Blade Feather Dragon, he's a good way to not only restock your soul with more cards to soul blast with, but to also give your remaining attackers a little extra power to work with. So for Blade Feather Dragon, we've got 4 in the deck, leaving it that way. Next up, Grade 0, Knight of Heavenly Hammer, Gurgit, critical trigger. We got 4 in the deck, leaving it that way. The Grade 0, Exaltate Knight Efreet, draw trigger. We've got 3 in the deck, taking her out, replacing it with, let's see, here, the Grade 0, Protection Magic, Pro Bobby, skill, continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Parabi, she's a pretty powerful draw trigger to play in your Keter Sanctuary Nation decks. Per skill, just by guarding of her, if your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, she gets plus 5,000 shield, making Parabi a 10,000 point shield all on her own. So for Parabi, we're going to be playing 3 in the deck, okay? And now, next up, the Grade 0, Healer of Heavenly Staff, Arches, heal trigger. We're playing 4, keeping it that way. And last but not least, the Grade 0, Light Dragon, Deity of Honors, Amritonia, over trigger. Skill, trigger, additional effect until end of turn. You also perform drive checks for the battles your rear guards attack. So for Amritonia, he's the over trigger for the Keter Sanctuary Nation. Like any other over trigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed during a drive check or damage check, you get 100 million power and draw a card. But he also features a skill unique to him. When revealed during a drive check on your turn, for that turn, your rear guards can also perform drive checks. So for Amritonia, with this skill, your rear guards let you perform drive checks, thus giving you the chance of getting more triggers or to just simply restock your hand with more cards. So for Amritonia, we've got 1 in the deck, leaving it that way. Alright, deck built, Cardfight explained, so let's get on to saving the deck. Override deck being built. Yep. Okay, so for the cards in this deck, we're playing 4, Grade 3, Phantom Blaster Dragon, 4, Grade 2, Darkness Maiden, Maka, 4, Grade 2, Blaster Dart, 4, Grade 2, Unnatural Knight, Delbeth, 4, Grade 1, Aegis Mare Dragon, 4, Grade 1, Witch of Pandering, Bruner, 1, Grade 1, Blaster Javelin, 4, Grade 1, Armor Piercing Knight you gain, 4, Grade 1, Knight of Desolation, Fionnuala, 1, Grade 0, Full Bow, starting unit. And now for the triggers in this deck, we're playing 8 critical triggers, 3 draw triggers, 4 heal triggers, and 1 over trigger, Amritonia. Alright, so the deck has been built, card effects explained. Now let's get on to testing out the deck, so let's leave the edit deck menu, back to main menu, going to fight menu, going to CPU fight, selecting the deck I just built, the Keter Sanctuary's Phantom Blaster Dragon D-BT04 deck. Selecting deck. Now choosing an opponent. Alright. Who would be a good opponent to test this deck out on? Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna be using this deck against Mika Shibuya. Normal difficulty. Okay, the battle begins. Let's get started. And here we are. So first, let's decide who goes first. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Scissors to rock, I lose, going second. Okay. Now we're getting our starting hands. Alright, I got a Perfect Guard, Phantom Blaster Dragon, Knight of Desolation Peonia, Bruner, and Blade Feather Dragon. Oh, pretty good hand. Okay. I should hold on to the Perfect Guard as to defend with, the Phantom Blaster Dragon to Persona Right with, so I guess I should hold on to Peonia to be a powerful attacker and Bruner to be used for Phantom Blaster Dragon skill, so my only option is to ditch the critical trigger, redraw, Blaster Dart, not bad. Alright, my opponent's turn. She's going to ride the Great One, Aesthesis Nanami. Skill, she Superior Calls from the drop zone, Eileen. Okay, my turn, I draw. Ah, no, not my over trigger. Come on, of all the cards to come out. Whatever. I'm gonna ride for my right deck, Blaster Javelin. For the right deck cards, okay, I gotta hold on to these four. I shouldn't reveal my over trigger, so I'll just ditch the Blaster Dart. Right, Blaster Javelin. Full battle skill, I draw a card. I draw a critical trigger, alright. Next up, I'm calling the Great One, Knight of Desolation, Finolia, over here in the left column, where there are no other rear guards on both sides. Adding power. Alright, that should be enough. Going to battle phase. First up, Blaster Javelin attacks the Vanguard. Vanguard to Vanguard, 8k. The attack goes through. Drive check. No trigger, okay. Here it comes. Pierce, 1 damage. No trigger, safe, alright. Now, Fionia attacks the Vanguard, 18,000 power. The attack goes through. Pierce, slash, and no trigger, safe. Alright, that's it for my turn. My opponent's turn. She rides the Great 2, Aesthesis Kiora, calling a rear guard, Aerith, and Taylene, using skill of Kaguya to add power. Okay, a full formation. The rear guard attacks the Vanguard. Okay. 18,000 power. Skill. Alright. My opponent's 2 damage. I have 0. I should let myself get hit, but my opponent has 25,000 power in total in this column. I should let the Vanguard hit, so I guess I should just block this one attack. I'm ditching a 15,000 point shield, the critical trigger, 23,000 power, blocked. Attack blocked, alright. And now here comes the opponent's rear Vanguard. Vanguard to Vanguard. Skill, she's returning the front row back to hand, okay. No guard, take the hit. Here comes, drive check. Ah, no, not a critical trigger, come on! Critical to Vanguard and power to rear guard. Alright, here comes 2 damage. Ow! Damage check first. No trigger. And second check, come on. No trigger. Ah. Here comes 35,000 power from the rear guard. Alright, don't have enough to guard, so I'm just gonna let the attack go through. No guard. Here it comes. Ow. Damage check. No trigger. Ah. Alright, that's it for my opponent. It's my turn. I stand and draw. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna ride for my right deck, Blaster Dart. For the right deck cost, let's see. I should hold on to the Perfect Guard, Phantom Blaster Dragon, and Bruner. I cannot ditch the Overtrigger this early, so my only options are to ditch either Blaster Dart or Phantom Blaster Dragon in the right here, so I should call Blaster Dart in the rear guard, so I'll ditch this second copy of Phantom Blaster Dragon from my hand. Right. Blaster Dart. Skill of Javelin. Superior, call the top card of my deck as rest. It is a critical trigger. Oh, come on. Fine, call to the rear guard over here. Blaster Dart skill, counter blast 1, and retiring the critical trigger. Here it comes, retiring the opponent's rear guard. I retire the back row Kadia. +1 drive to my Vanguard. And now I call Blaster Dart to the rear guard. Not gonna activate Blaster Dart skill. And next up. Nope, I think that's enough, so go into battle phase. My rear guard Blaster Dart attacks the rear guard. Poly. Yes, 1 rear guard down. With no rear guards in the column. My Finula gets power, and now my Vanguard attacks the Vanguard. 10,000 power, twin drive, first check. Yes, heal trigger, just what I needed. I heal 1 damage, power to Finolia. Effects added, and now second check. No trigger, perfect guard, nice. Alright, 1 damage to my opponent. And slash. 1 damage check. Ah no, not a draw trigger. She adds all the effects, so Spinoli attacks the Vanguard, 28,000 power. She guards with a 15,000 point shield, attack blocked. Alright, my attack is blocked, so that's the end of my turn, my opponent's turn. She rides the grade 3, Aesthesis Kyrie, and calling 1 side, okay. The Vanguard attacks the Vanguard. I guess I should let this attack through. I'll just block the rear guard, so no guard. Here it comes, twin drive, first check. No trigger, safe. And second check. No trigger, safe. Alright. Now 1 damage to me. Here it comes. And... Ow! Damage check. No trigger, okay. The rear guard attacks for 18,000 power. I should guard it. Skill, she's superior calling. Ah, no! And now Finolia loses her power, so I'll guard this attack with the heal trigger. A 15,000 shield, total 25. Block. And the attack is blocked. Alright, we're safe. And now it's my turn. I stand and draw. Alright. I'm going to ride for my right deck, Phantom Blaster Dragon. For the right deck cards, let's see. Gotta hold on to these 2 perfect guards and the Persona ride. I gotta call Bruner to use its skill. As well as the over trigger, gotta hold on to it. So I'll just ditch the draw trigger to ride. Ditching the draw trigger for the right deck cost. Riding Phantom Blaster Dragon. Here we go. Now I activate Phantom Blaster skill. Superior call a blaster from my soul. Alright, I'm superior calling. Blaster Javelin to the rear guard. Over here. Next up, I call Bruner to the rear guard. I activate Phantom Blaster Dragon skill. Counterblast 1. Retire 3 rear guards. I retire Bruner. Treat as 2 rear guards. Yes. And Javelin. Here comes Phantom Blaster Dragon skill. Retiring 2 of my opponent's rear guards. I retire, let's see, the back row Kadaria. And the front row Arif. Wait, no, I'm retiring the back row Eileen. Retiring these 2. Adding power and critical to my Vanguard. There we go. Alright, that should be enough. Going to battle phase. First up, Blaster Dart attacks the rear guard. 15,000 power. Alright. 1 down. And next up, Finolia attacks the Vanguard. 18,000 power. She guards with 15,000 point shield. Alright. The attack is blocked. And now Phantom Blaster Dragon attacks the Vanguard. 22,000 power, 2 criticals. Yes, the attack goes through. Twin drive, first check. Yes, critical trigger, just what I needed. All effects to the Vanguard. And a second check. No trigger. Alright, 3 damage on its way. Rain down the darkness. Pierce and 3 damage. First. No trigger, okay. Second
ダ
check.
メージチェック
No trigger. All right. And the last one. Come on. Nothing.
ヒールト
Ah, no, not a heal trigger. She heals and survives this turn, so that's the end of my turn then. My opponent's
私の
turn.
ターンドロー
My opponent Persona Rides. Kyrie. Drawing a card, and now she calls
スキル発動
Kadalia, adding power. Okay. That's all.
ヴァンガードにアタック
Huh. Okay. 38,000 power. I'm at 3 damage. I could let the attack go through, but I shouldn't risk the possibility of my opponent double criticaling me, so it's better to play it safe. I'm gonna perfect guard Aegismere. And for the perfect guard cost, let's see, what should I ditch? Definitely should hold on to the Persona Ride and perfect guard and the over trigger, so ditch the critical trigger or Mugain. Mugain can possibly give me fodder for Phantom Blaster skill, so okay, I'm gonna ditch the critical trigger, Blade Feather, perfect guard,
ドライブチェック
Twin Drive first check. No, not another heal trigger, come on! Now she's back to 4 damage. And
ドライブチェック
second check, no trigger, safe. Alright, the attack is blocked. Alright, now it's my move. Nope, my opponent's turn.
スキル
It's
発
still
動
going on. She's superior calling, a rear guard,
スキル発動
adding power, Paline.
パワープラス
Okay,
ヴァンガードにアタック
I'll let this attack through. I've got to conserve my hand, so taking a hit.
ノーガー
No
ド
guard. Here comes the damage. Ow.
ダメージチェック
Damage check. No trigger. Ah, no, Bruner. I could have used her.
ターン
Alright, it's my turn. I stand and draw. I'm going to Persona Ride, Phantom Blaster Dragon. Persona Ride.
ペルソナライド
Superior calling from my soul. Let's
スキル
see.
発動
I guess I'll superior call. What would be a good choice? Alright, I think I'll superior call Phantom Blaster Dragon.
ステリオルコール
Next up. I'm going to call Armor Piercing Knight Mugain. Mugain skill. Discard a card from my hand. Discarding Finolia. Gotta hold on to perfect guards and the over trigger.
スキル発動
Superior call, the top card of my deck is Rest. Alright, I'm putting Mugain onto the rear guard. Over here.
ステリオルコール
And now, Phantom Blaster Dragon skill. Wait, hold on. Yep, this should be good. Phantom Blaster Dragon skill. Counter Blast 1. Retired 3 units. I retired a 3 in my back row.
ここからが本当の戦いスキル発動
And wiping out. Retiring 2 of my opponent's rear guards. Retiring all rear guards in my opponent's field. Adding power and critical. Effects added.
クリティカル
Critical as well. Alright. Alright, that's about it. So, going to battle phase. First up, my Vanguard attacks the Vanguard. 32,000 power, 2 criticals. She triple guards. 58.
ガ
Okay.
ードするわ
2 to pass. First check. No trigger. Okay.
ドライ
And
ブチェッ
second
ク
check. No trigger. Perfect guard. Not bad. Attack blocked. Alright, next up. Blaster Dark attacks the Vanguard. 25,000 power.
ノーガード
The attack goes through. Slash. Damage check. No trigger. Alright. And now, Fionolia attacks the Vanguard. 28,000 power.
ノーガード
Yes, the attack goes through. Pierce. Slash. And no trigger. Alright. And 6 damage. I win.
やった
Whew, not bad. I got to test out some of the new cards I put in. They work pretty well, so... Alright, I got win, perfect guarded. Opponent healed 6 damage, did a Persona Rite. 6 turns passed, did a superior call, retired 5 more opposing units. I got 1850 VP, total 5900 VP. Press A to go next, leaving the fight. And heading back to fight menu.
どのファイタ
Leaving
ー
the fight
どのデッ
menu,
キにする
returning
ど
to
の
the
ファイ
main
ターにする
menu. Here we are on the main menu to edit deck menu.
どのデッキを見
And
る
so with that, I finished building the deck, explained the card effects, and tested out the deck in front of you. And so that's just about all the time we have for today. So first off, I want to say thank you to the viewers for watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that, I say goodbye and see you all soon.